Welcome to Talk the Walk. I'm Sarah Wong. We know that renowned Chinese director Zhang Yimou put on a breathtaking display of light shows, snowflakes, and Chinese pride for the opening ceremony of the Beijing Winter Olympics. Zhang also heralded the Lunar New Year with his first movie that depicted the battleground of the Korean War. There's a heavy presence of foreign actors in the film to portray the American Army, and today we'll be talking to one of them. British actor AJ Donnelly joins us now from Beijing, China. He's also a voice artist and a cultural entrepreneur. AJ, thank you for being on Talk the Walk. Did I get your name correctly?
AJ Donnelly, it's quite simple. That's why it's just 2 letters so that no one can ever forget it.
Oh, lucky. So first, I believe congratulations are in order as the movie Snipers is doing quite well at the Spring Festival box office. You've said that you were handpicked by director Zhang and his daughter Zhang Yimou to portray American Army Captain Williams in the film. Can you tell us what made them, in your opinion, of course, what made them believe that you were the match?
That's a wonderful question that I've been asking myself every day since I got cast in it over a year ago now. How do you ever know, really, why a director casts you for something? I mean, I don't, I have a certain shaped head and a certain face. So it's very difficult for me to get cast in roles like this in general. So I don't know, I think it's just on the day, we came across as, I think he wanted, based on both myself and the rest of the foreign team that he cast, I think he wanted a variety of different looks and different styles and different attitudes from the actors that he chose. And I just happened to fit one of those types, I guess.
You're from Bedford, England, and as we know right now that you have a very strong and very orthodox British accent. This film depicts confrontation between Chinese and American soldiers during the Korean War. Why do you think that wasn't a factor taken into the consideration?
Oh, it definitely was. On the second audition with Zhang Yimou, the first question she said to me was, can you do an American accent? Because that was definitely a factor in the people that she chose. We had to be able to come across as genuine. And luckily, all of the soldiers from that platoon that were involved, that battalion that were involved, they were all from the South, the southern states. So the Southern American accent is, it's a bit stereotypical and not too difficult to emulate. So it's one of the voices that I can do. I mean, as a voice actor, being able to do accents is, part of my job. So it was just lucky that I was able to do that particular accent.
Now, can you tell us more about your role in the movie and what did you need to do to bring that character to life?
I had to be very, very angry all of the time. I mean, that's something that's kind of a trademark for me now, is that all of my characters that I play in different TV shows and different movies,
is it a trademark for you or a trademark for foreign characters in Chinese
For me.
production?
I think every character I've ever played is always very, very angry. And Captain Williams, he's always angry about the situation and about the soldiers that he's dealing with and the sniper team that he's trying to coordinate. So, being angry is, I guess I have an angry looking face, I don't know. But yeah, he's not a happy man. He's not happy with the situation with his soldiers. He's obviously not happy with the situation in the war, how things are going on the battlefield. So I had to be angry 24/7 when I was there.
So what do you have to do to bring that kind of high degree and intense angriness, fury to life?
I mean, it wasn't actually very difficult when I was there because we started filming every day at around 5 a.m. because up in Baishan during the winter, very, very short days. So we had to start filming at 5 every morning. And, when we go out there, it's about -20 up in the mountains. And, we've got very small tents and we're not wearing very many clothes and so many things going on. And it gets very, very tense on set. So you just have to think about the situation, So not just for you as an actor, but, the character, where is he? What's he experiencing? What's he thinking about right now? That's the job of the actor, to bring reality to an unreal situation. So the unreal situation is you're an actor, you're just on set, but the actual situation that your character is in, obviously is in the middle of a war. You're not getting what you want. You have to understand first, when you're preparing for a role like this, you have to say, why is he feeling this way? What's his reaction going to be? How's he going to interact with the people around him? And for my character, everyone is just making me angry all the time, and you just absorb that. You react to whoever else is around you. So, even if, as often happens when we make movies, maybe people sometimes don't give you the reaction that you need as a character, but then you use that. You get angry at the situation, and then you just channel that into your character. So, yeah, I mean, for this movie especially, it was quite easy to be angry all the time.
Well, talking about the character and the situation of the characters, well, full confession, I haven't got the chance to watch the movie yet. I will when I get the chance. But in my experience, historically, China's history and war movies and TV series always end with a Chinese victory, where the Chinese soldiers are heroes. In other words, the foreign characters, foreign soldiers are always defeated. It is also so black and white in this film, or is there a different story with more nuances here?
I think that's a very, very important factor for this movie specifically. We weren't privileged to the whole script when we were filming. All the actors, we only got our scenes because Zhang Yimou was very, very certain about, keeping this whole thing confidential and having no leaks of any night. So we didn't know what everyone else was doing and what was going on. So it was only when we went to see the premiere a few weeks ago that we got the full idea of what was going on.
So you don't know what the story's about beforehand?
We get the general idea, with the background of, where we are and what we're doing, but we didn't know what story was going to be portrayed, who the characters were going to be. What the end, none of us knew what the ending was until we actually saw it at the premiere. So I was surprised, to be honest. I mean, obviously, Zhang Yimou is very well known for making deeper movies, that tell more of a story rather than just being, big action scenes. And that's not what this movie was. This movie, number one, it had a story to tell. And number two, that story wasn't black and white. It wasn't the good guys versus the bad guys. And all throughout the movie, it's made very, very clear by how the foreign side are portrayed that these aren't evil guys. They weren't there. It isn't shown in the movie that they were there to do bad things, to be bad people. What was shown was two sides who were fighting for what they thought was the right thing to do. So I don't think the movie shows any evil characters or evil intentions. Now, of course, the movie ends in a certain way, but I don't, and it portrays heroes, but I don't think it's done at the expense of either side. And I think that's very, very important, This is not the good guys versus the bad guys. This is two sides who believe what they're doing is right, and the story that unfolds between them.
Interesting. So historically, a lot of sniper movies or movies related to snipers were made both in the West and in the East. What do you think, if you have to choose like one thing, what do you think that is that make this film, Snipers, by Zhang Yimou, unique?
It's not an action movie. I mean, there are a very few number of explosions, but it's not about special effects. It's not about, large set pieces and things blowing up all over the place. I mean, it has that as well, but it's a character-driven movie, It was a very, very small team of actors, maybe, 10 Chinese actors on one side, probably less than 10 foreign actors on the other side. And it's an hour and a half long. So it's all about the development on the battlefield between these different characters and the conversations that they have and the feelings that they share about being in this situation. It's about the stories that are told between those characters. For me as an actor, that's really something different.
Now, director Zhang Yimou, we know he just directed the opening ceremony of the Beijing Winter Games. Now, afterwards, during an interview, he told a reporter that he would never compliment his own work. Do you think this movie, Snipers, came out the way that Zhang Yimou had envisioned?
I mean, personally, the foreign team, we had very limited interaction with Zhang Yimou personally, because there were two teams. There was Team A and Team B, and Team A was Zhang Yimou with the Chinese side, and Zhang Mo was directing the foreign actors. So there was very few times that he was on set with us. He was there at rehearsals, and obviously he did the casting and everything, but it was kept very, very separate, the two teams. So we didn't get so much interaction with him while we were filming.
So what about interaction with director Zhang Mo?
For me, it was life-changing. Literally, it was life-changing. Before I did this movie, it was my plan to quit acting and to not continue acting anymore. And this was going to be the last production that I worked on. But after working with her and seeing how good a production could be, it re-energized me, and it reminded me why I started acting in the first place. She was an incredible director, and she took more time, and she got to know us as actors. Every day we were doing rehearsals beforehand, which, to actors in the West, they'll say, well, okay, that's what we always do. But, in China, that's really unusual for actors to get that opportunity. And after every scene, she would come to the actors and she would say to us, what do you think? How did that feel? Are you okay with that? And it blew my mind. And I was like, wow, this is what acting really should be like. And from that point, I was like, yeah, this is the only thing I really want to be doing. So it was a life changer working with her.
Wow, you just mentioned you were at the brink of quitting acting before this film. I know that you left your hometown, Bedford, England, in 1999 and have been building your life in China ever since. Yes. Wow, what was it initially driving the decision? And looking back, do you feel that you were at a place that you would have desired in China right now?
You mean, why did I come here originally?
Yes.
What brought me here? Martial arts. So from the age of, I guess, 10 or so, I've been training so many different kinds of martial arts. And then in 95, I started training Chinese Kung Fu. And my teacher had also trained in China. And every day he would tell us stories of what it was like living here and all the things he would get up to. And so I made the decision, okay, China, that's where I want to go. So in 99, just booked a plane ticket and came over here. So that's what brought me here in the first place. I had no idea, no intention to stay here for, what is it now, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
But, here we are.
And you've been building your life in China, building your career as an actor, voice artist, and cultural entrepreneur in China ever since. But you also kept the option open of returning to England to continue your acting career there. What will eventually propel you to take that step, and given your deep love for Chinese culture, martial arts, and your life in China here?
Well, I'll start by saying, I don't think I would say that I've been building that for 20 years. I think for the first 10 years that I was here, I was just floating around, you know? I had no ambition, I had no drive, I had no direction. But it's only for the past 10 years or so that I've had an idea of, you know, what I want to do with my life. I was a young child before that. So, you know, that's more of a relatively recent thing. But in terms of returning to England, you know, after 20 years, more than half my life, I've lived in China now. And I would consider this my home. But, you know, if the option is there to spend some time in England, you know, if there are good filming opportunities or things that I can take from China and have them in England at the same time, then yes, I would like the opportunity to be here, but also to spend time there as well. As soon as the borders reopen, I hope to start looking for filming opportunities in England as well, yeah.
Now, I wonder, to be an actor, a foreign actor in China and starring in Chinese production, TV series and movies, is substantial knowledge of Chinese history and culture required from you and foreign actors in general to take up any part in Chinese production? And if so, do you find that challenging?
I wish it was a requirement, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously for me, the language and the culture are obviously a very, very, you know, important part of my life, you know, both because I live here and I love the country, but also because I run a cultural education company. Yeah. So personally, I do have that background, but in terms of acting, I don't think it's ever been an issue, you know, whether I have that knowledge or not.
But does that make you more advantageous at the very least? Does that make you more competitive among your fellow foreign actors?
As an actor, no, not in the slightest, unfortunately. When you look like this, nothing really is nothing is really an advantage to you when you look like I do. As a voice actor, and I'm probably going to get flamed for this, but as a voice actor, I'm often hired to do dubbing for other actors who perhaps aren't native English speakers. So they might hire like a Russian actor to play a British person in a movie or a TV show, and then they bring me in afterwards to dub him in a perfect British accent. So yeah, that can be a little bit frustrating at times.
Wow, that's interesting. Some interesting insight to the industry. And speaking of that, we know that China has been cracking down on the entertainment industry lately. Now, I wonder, with the rise of nationalism and the regulatory headwinds, do you feel that has impacted the general appetite for foreign actors in the industry? And are you personally impacted?
That's a good question. This is the thing, Sarah. You know, I follow entertainment news and media news, and I follow all the Western media when they're talking about China.
Right.
And there's a certain, they portray China in a certain way, as I'm sure you understand. And, you know, that's across the board. So when it comes to the entertainment industry, there are certain headlines that I see all the time, such as talking about, you know, this crackdown and, you know, the rise of nationalism and these kind of things. But as a foreigner who lives here and interacts daily, you know, with the entertainment industry, in business, with just people in general, I never get a feel for that, you know? And me, either as a business person or as an actor, I haven't personally experienced any of these so-called crackdowns or, you know, the rise of nationalism and things like this. For obviously things have changed over the past 20 years, but for me personally, in my daily life, I've not seen any changes. I mean, you know, some productions, they might get, you know, shut down, but it's never been because of a crackdown from the Chinese authorities or anything like that.
What about the, you know, some of the very sensitive topics? Have you seen that being made maybe less and less in recent years, or that's not the correct picture?
As I said, in my experience, and I can only ever talk from what I've seen and what I've experienced, I have never experienced a situation where we've been told, oh, we can't do that because it's a sensitive situation. We can't film this. We have to change this script. We have to change this character. We can't film because we've been told not to. Now, maybe that's happened before I even arrive or before I've even got involved. But no, personally, I haven't seen an impact of any of those kind of changes.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much, AJ, for talking to us and sharing your fascinating experience filming the film Snipers. And I'll go to the movie and watch it once it's available in Hong Kong.